What's up YouTube, this is JDCrits and I wanted to talk about Ocarina of Time Remake. I wanted to analyze the trailer and go over some details. I'm not going to script this video, I just want to give my raw thoughts on the trailer. So I remember when watching people react to the trailer, a lot of people assume that the voice acting in the trailer means that there's going to be voice acting in the game. And it could just be a trailer thing, like they just wanted to have narration for the trailer, but I do think it's a pretty good guess that they will add voice acting to the game, just simply for the fact that both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have voice acting, and they're the most modern games. Obviously, there's Echoes of Wisdom, but I don't think the Grezzo games, the top-down Grezzo games, I don't believe they will have voice acting at any point. But I do think voice acting as a whole is here to stay. If I were to give my preference though, I would prefer that the voice acting just stay for like cinematic cutscenes during like big story moments. I do kind of like just reading the dialogue and imagining a voice in my head. I don't know if that's a popular opinion or a controversial one, but that's just how I feel about it personally. While we're getting the narration in the trailer, we do get to see this tapestry that has a depiction of Kokiri and the Great Deku Tree. And if you look at how the Great Deku Tree looks in the original game, he actually has received a redesign because his design is a lot more intricate and a lot more detailed now. And his redesign was actually the first indication that I had that it was going to be a from the ground up remake with new designs and new art style. It is at this part in the trailer that we do get to hear a little rendition of Saria's theme.
At the very edge of this kingdom, there lay a small forest.
And we also get to hear the Kokiri village theme. It's just short, really short renditions of them, just to kind of tease that it was Ocarina of Time before revealing it. But the big climax of the trailer was actually when we got to see Child Link for the first time in this new remake. Just like the Great Deku Tree, he actually has a pretty significant redesign, I would say. It's clearly supposed to be his Kokiri outfit, his little Kokiri tunic, but it's a lot more plant-like and looks more like a character that actually lives in the forest. And you can see the texturing in his hair is very realistic. They're going for a lot more realism in this version of the game. I know some people were actually complaining about how realistic it looked and that it didn't look like Zelda anymore. But Legend of Zelda has never really had a consistent art style. The art style has changed quite a bit from game to game, and the Wild Era games only were consistent in art style because they were direct sequels or prequels. This also isn't the first time Link has looked like this. I mean, if you compare how he looks compared to some of the renders that we have gotten for Link over the years for like the Nintendo stores or from Super Smash Bros., you'll see that the style is pretty similar to that. The big difference now is that we just actually have a game that graphically would be able to replicate that type of render in the actual game itself. And I also think they just did this to have some synergy with the movie. Because if you think about it, the movie is going to be live action, and so people that are not Legend of Zelda fans or have never played Ocarina of Time, if they go see this movie and they end up loving it and they want to go play the games, Ocarina of Time Remake is going to be the most recent game in this franchise. So it makes sense that they would actually try and have the characters look somewhat reminiscent of what they'll probably look like in the movie. It really does just make sense from a marketing standpoint. I'm personally really glad that they didn't do a one-to-one remake of Ocarina of Time. This might be spoiling a video that I actually had planned to make prior to the reveal of Ocarina of Time Remake. But a lot of that video still holds up because they didn't really show that much in this trailer. But basically, in that video, my stance was I really did want a from the ground up remake, because with Ocarina of Time already on NSO, and the fact that we already got Ocarina of Time 3D, I just really didn't need this game to try and be the definitive way to play Ocarina of Time. The original already is on the Switch too, so if people really do want to play the original, they still can. And frankly, if they did try and make it a one-to-one remake, it was never going to please everyone because there's going to be people complaining that the gameplay feels a bit outdated in some areas. And then at the same time, if they change those gameplay elements and try to make it more modern, then there would be people complaining that they changed their favorite aspect of the game. So instead of this game trying to be this definitive replacement for the previous games, it's just a new take on Ocarina of Time, and I think that's really fun and interesting to explore. I do also think from a lore standpoint, they'll probably try and use this game to tidy up some of the inconsistencies in the lore. I know people like to say that the Zelda timeline doesn't matter, but they still keep adding to it, and like, there's still a lot of fans that really do care about the timeline and the lore. Me personally, I really do care about the lore and the timeline. I don't get super upset about the details of the timeline, but I do love watching lore videos and theory videos about Legend of Zelda. I do expect them to start adding some details like about Hylia and King Rauru, some mentions about them, or maybe the goddess statues. There's going to be some details that hint about games that did not exist when Ocarina of Time initially came out. Like if you look at the logo, they're already changing things to reflect more modern aspects of designs that we're accustomed to, like the Hylian shield. It has the design that we see in Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, instead of how it originally looked in Ocarina of Time. Also, the pattern on Link's tunic has patterns similar to the Forest Dweller shield. I don't remember if this shield appeared in any other games other than Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but the design is definitely based on the one that we see in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But yeah, I'm just really excited to see all the reimagined designs of these characters. Like, I'm so excited to see what Zelda looks like, and Impa, and Sheik, and obviously Ganondorf. They always make really good Ganondorf designs. I don't think they have ever missed with a Ganondorf design. The way Child Link looks right now, it does make me wonder if Adult Link's design is going to look very like forest-like. I know that like Adult Link gets some garments that make his design look a bit more, I guess, fancy with the white tights. But yeah, now I'm just starting to ramble. I don't really have that much to say anymore. If you watched this far in the video, first off, thanks for watching this far. And second, please consider liking this video and subscribing. I plan to make a lot more videos and hopefully higher quality videos as I'm learning this YouTube thing. I'm really not that comfortable yet, but I want to get there, and you know, I had to start somewhere. My next video will probably be about Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. It'll be a kind of similar format of this where it's not really scripted and I'm just kind of analyzing the details that we got from the trailer. There's a lot more to pick apart in that trailer, and I've found so many things alongside other people that have been picking apart this trailer. But also keep an eye out on that video that I mentioned about Ocarina of Time Remake, because like I said, they didn't show a whole lot, so there's still a lot of room to speculate on what the game might look like, what they'll do as far as changes and things that I would personally like to see. Anyway, that's enough from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a good one.